On Thursday, the motorsport fanbase was plunged into shock when it was announced by Hyundai that Craig Breen, the popular, enthusiastic Irish rally driver, was killed testing in preparation for the Croatia Rally. And it was one of those stark reminders that motorsport does still have dangers attached. I know that the vast majority of my audience is a Formula 1 based audience, and in this world of halos, yellow flags dropped for the slightest thing and safety car restarts, this accident reminds us that freak accidents still happen and people still can and will get hurt. Henry Surtees, Justin Wilson, Antoine Hubert all spring to mind. Motorsport is much safer compared to the days of the likes of Jackie Stewart, Graham Hill, Jack Brabham, Jackie Ickx and Lorenzo Bandini, but 100% safe? No. I think it was Murray Walker that said you can make the sport safer, but not safe, or words to that effect. And even though for me, rally is basically a fringe motorsport and has been since Richard Burns passed away, given that he was one of my childhood hero racing drivers, I still knew who Craig Breen was. Mostly due to hanging out with Lawrence de Soswa's community, which is predominantly Irish. And over there, Breen was seen as being a hero, and they always kept up with what he was doing, posting his results and going absolutely loopy when he was doing well or going quickly. And he was also a member of that Discord. And that's probably going to be the crux of this little video, because I'm not going to sit here and tell you how much of a fan I was of Craig or how great he was, because I don't keep up with rally that much and I would just be lying to you, but I knew how much he meant to a nation's motorsport community, and it's more of how in 2023 we as motorsport fans process the loss of a driver and everything that comes with it. Well, I mean, process it maybe slightly differently to how we once did because of the way the world has changed. But at the same time, it never gets any easier, if that makes any sense to you. Because back in the days of, say, when Ayrton Senna was killed, you didn't believe it was happening because, well, it's Senna, and he's the greatest, and Senna can't be killed racing a car, that's just unfathomable. Now, though, you don't believe it because you think it's, well, quite literally made up. And having seen the little bits of him talking to the camera, it's almost like he's the rally version of, well, Guy Martin is probably the best person to compare him to. Just pure enthusiasm and love for the sport, and the tributes pouring in from the rally drivers that I follow on Instagram, like Katie Munnings, the Hanson brothers in Kevin and Timmy, Molly Taylor and so on, all have pretty much the same photo of Craig with this massive smile on his face, which is something you don't really see in other forms of motorsport. Ari Vaknin posted a lengthy tribute on his Facebook as well that is matching up with what everybody else has said about him. And it's something that's missing from modern motorsport now, and it's, well, gone forever, sadly. And rally drivers really are a different breed to circuit drivers. How they can do what they do on ice and dirt and tarmac, and I want to be able to do that because it looks cool. And it's news that you had to read several times to make sure that it was true. And it's a little different to when Colin McRae was killed, because back then you had to read it 10 times to make sure you were believing what you were seeing, because it seemed impossible that Colin McRae was gone. Because Colin McRae was invincible. Same way Dale was the Intimidator, Jim Clark was too good to crash, and even earlier this year with Ken Block. Ken Block was Superman. He did all those cool Gymkhana videos on YouTube. How can Ken Block be dead? But nowadays we don't believe it because we live in a world where we don't trust our news sources. I like to think I'm switched on with this kind of thing, and I don't just believe whatever is there, and I tend to check everything. But even then, I see something and immediately have to do a wider search, because we now live in a world of fake news and people that will do anything to generate clicks. And some people would be sick enough to make something like this up for that purpose. They might say, oh yeah, right, Craig's crash, but we'll make it a fatal because that'll get people clicking on a news article or a YouTube video, which kind of has a similar feel to the confusion surrounding Kobe Bryant's helicopter crash. Because the media cries wolf so many times and sensationalizes things, you just go, yeah, whatever. And it's like, okay, let's just double check this, because what am I reading? Or maybe it is true. No, it is true. Now, in my case, I read the word Breen and assumed that it was a spoiler for Star Trek Picard, being a massive Star Trek fan and the Breen are an alien race in the show. But then you see the news from Hyundai attached to that little statement, and it's like, what? Because you don't expect it to happen. You go through that same cycle of not wanting to believe what you've just read, constantly double check to make sure it's true, and even when you do find out that it is true, well, it never gets any easier. Again, we've already been through this once with Ken Block just this year. But like I said, rally isn't something I take that much of an active interest in, but still knew who Craig Breen was and how popular he was. And losses in motorsport from marshals up to the have-a-go hero to the top names it will never be easy. It's just that in this modern world, the way we process it is completely different to how we did 25 years ago. I will admit it hasn't hit me in the same way that the deaths of Burnsy, McRae or even Block have, but it's still a huge loss for motorsport, and it means that motorsport has lost one of the last proper characters in a top-level category. Again, it's that level of enthusiasm and love that's on a level shared with probably only Guy Martin. And it would have been absolutely incredible to see the two of them do something as part of a TV show or one of those insane challenges that Guy does. It would be an instant classic and banter for days. Well, crack, because the Irish are involved. And it's a shame now that the past is all I'll have to go on. I guess it's that appreciate them when they're gone type of thing, if that makes any sense. Like I said, rally isn't exactly my forte. I can't tell you who won the WRC last year, but I knew who Craig Breen was. And that should probably tell you something. So I'll open the floor up to you, the audience. Tell me what I missed with Craig Breen. What kind of driver did I miss? Leave your opinions and memories of Craig in the comments as well and get a bit of a discussion going. And instead of just leaving a black and white picture with Craig Breen 1990 to 2023 at the end, let's do something that Craig had a lot of. Fun. Let's make some noise and absolutely send it.